More than 60 years have passed since The Addams Family first aired on ABC. With only 2 seasons and 64 episodes, the show introduced a brilliantly inverted concept. A family that terrifies everyone around them is, in truth, the most loving and functional household on television. Gomez and Morticia never argue. The butler is unwaveringly loyal, and every eccentric relative is warmly welcomed. Yet, the real-life fates of the actors who brought these characters to life were often far darker and more tragic than anything that unfolded within the walls of that Gothic mansion. 1. Carolyn Jones, Morticia Addams' elegance until her final breath. In the history of film and television, few actresses have merged their spirit with a role as completely and as gracefully as Carolyn Jones. Born in 1930 in the sun-scorched state of Texas, Jones joined the Addams Family at a time when she was already a celebrated Hollywood star, even earning an Academy Award nomination. It was none other than Charles Addams, the original creator of the characters, who was instantly captivated by her haunting beauty and expressive eyes, declaring that no one else could embody Morticia's essence. One of the most fascinating details from the production involved Morticia's iconic black, form-fitting gown. The dress was so tight and restrictive that Carolyn could barely walk in a natural stride. Rather than complain, she transformed this limitation into an acting technique she called minimal movement. Her slow, gliding steps, almost as if floating above the ground, combined with her delicate hand gestures, created an aura of timeless elegance and aristocratic poise, turning Morticia into an enduring symbol of dark beauty. Yet the most poignant chapter of Carolyn Jones's story came in her final years, as she faced the most difficult role of her life. In 1981, she was diagnosed with advanced colon cancer. With remarkable dignity and quiet strength, she chose to keep her illness private, even from colleagues and the public. Despite enduring severe pain, she continued to appear on set, sometimes confined to a wheelchair between takes, gently reassuring others that she was merely being treated for ulcers. Carolyn Jones passed away in 1983 at the age of 53. Her legacy extends far beyond a single iconic role. Until her final breath, she carried herself with the same grace, composure, and devotion to her craft that defined Morticia. She lived and departed, with the spirit of her character intact, radiant, poised, and unshaken, even in the deepest shadows. 2. Ted Cassidy lurched the echo of a giant presence. Among the wonderfully eccentric members of the Addams household, Lurch stands as a silent pillar, imposing, steady, and unforgettable, thanks to the towering presence of Ted Cassidy. Standing at an extraordinary 6 feet 9 inches, 2.05 meters, and possessing a deep, resonant voice reminiscent of a cathedral organ, Cassidy was far more than just a performer. He was a multifaceted artist. Before donning the butler's suit, he worked as a radio announcer and even reported on one of the most shocking events in modern history, the assassination of John F. Kennedy in 1963. Cassidy's most significant contribution to Lurch came from breaking beyond the limits of the script. Originally, the character was intended to be completely mute, communicating only through grunts. However, during rehearsals, Cassidy improvised a simple yet brilliant line, "You rang?" delivered in his signature deep voice whenever the doorbell sounded. This spontaneous addition stunned the production team and instantly became a cultural phenomenon, turning the phrase into one of the most recognizable catchphrases in American pop culture for decades. Behind his towering physique, however, lay a harsh medical reality. Cassidy suffered from acromegaly, a hormonal disorder that contributed to his remarkable size, but also gradually damaged his body. The condition led to severe cardiovascular complications, steadily weakening his health. In 1979, following a complex heart surgery, Ted Cassidy passed away at just 46 years old. He left the world at the height of his presence, leaving behind an irreplaceable void for fans. Yet the echo of his voice and the memory of his commanding silhouette remain forever embedded in the soul of the Addams family, an enduring testament to a man whose physical stature was matched only by the depth of his artistic legacy. 3. Thing, the immortal character without a face. Within the wonderfully bizarre world of the Addams family, few characters are as unique and as enduring as Thing. Appearing in 61 out of the show's 64 episodes, this disembodied hand never once revealed a face, yet became one of the most recognizable figures in the entire franchise. Its very existence stands as a testament to the boundless creativity of the filmmakers of that era. Originally, in the dark imagination of Charles Addams, the character was conceived as a severed head crawling eerily through the mansion. However, strict television censorship standards in 1964 forced the producers to rethink the concept entirely. Their solution would prove ingenious: transform the grotesque head into a nimble, expressive hand. In doing so, they turned a potentially horrifying image into a loyal, resourceful companion, one that audiences could embrace rather than fear. What many viewers never realized is that the person who quite literally breathed life into Thing's movements was none other than Ted Cassidy, the towering performer behind Lurch. Filming these scenes required extraordinary effort and humility. Cassidy would lie flat on a low rolling platform, carefully hidden beneath the camera's frame, extending his hand through boxes, walls, or cleverly designed props. This silent dedication from a man over 2 meters tall gave Thing its delicate, expressive gestures, proving that even without a voice, a character could communicate emotion with remarkable clarity. Over nearly 6 decades, Thing has proven to be the most enduring character in the entire Addams family legacy. From the original black and white television series, through the blockbuster films of the 1990s, to the global phenomenon of Wednesday, Thing has remained ever-present, unchanged by time, and increasingly vital to the story. Its immortality affirms a powerful creative truth. Sometimes, a single body part, placed in the right context and brought to life with personality, can become more iconic and emotionally resonant than fully realized human characters. 4. Blossom Rock, Grandmama, a late-blooming star at 69 and a quiet life behind the spotlight. In the eccentric universe of the Addams family, Grandmama brings a peculiar warmth, brewing potions, casting spells, and radiating a delightfully chaotic charm. The actress who embodied this unforgettable character was Blossom Rock, a seasoned performer who proved that artistic passion knows no age limits. When she took on the role, she was already 69 years old, an age when most of her contemporaries had long since retired. Yet behind her mischievous smile lay a story of quiet determination and unwavering self-respect. Few people know that Blossom Rock came from a remarkably prestigious artistic lineage. Her younger sister was Jeanette MacDonald, one of the brightest stars of Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, adored by millions worldwide. Determined to forge her own path and avoid living in the shadow of her sister's fame, Blossom chose to work under the stage name Marie Blake. For decades, she labored quietly in Hollywood, taking on small supporting roles, content to remain behind the curtain of stardom while staying true to her own abilities. Her career only truly blossomed when she stepped into the role of Grandmama in the Addams Family, nearly at the age of 70. The performance brought her long overdue recognition and transformed her into a beloved figure for generations of viewers. Yet fate, once again, proved unforgiving. In 1967, she suffered a severe stroke that robbed her of the ability to speak, a devastating loss for an actress whose life had been built on voice and expression. She spent her final years in complete silence at a retirement home for aging performers. Though she could no longer act or communicate, Her optimism and inner strength remained undiminished until her passing in 1978 at the age of 82. Blossom Rock's life stands as a profound testament. Fame may arrive late, but the values of independence, resilience, and devotion to one's craft endure far beyond the spotlight. 5. Felix Silla, Cousin ITT, an adventure beneath layers of hair and a hidden identity. Among the many eccentric members of the Addams family, Cousin ITT is perhaps the most visually unforgettable, a walking mass of floor-length hair, topped with sunglasses and a bowler hat. Beneath that heavy, sweltering costume was actor Felix Silla, a man standing just 3 feet 11 inches tall, yet possessing remarkable resilience and extraordinary physical acting skills. Despite appearing in 17 episodes without ever revealing his face on camera, Silla transformed Cousin ITT into a true pop culture icon. Through his distinctive waddling walk and his unique, high-pitched, gibberish-like speech, he gave life and personality to a character who technically had neither facial expressions nor a conventional voice. Felix Silla's life itself was a genuine adventure. He began as a circus performer in Italy before making his way to Hollywood in search of opportunity. Thanks to his small stature and the agility of a trained acrobat, he built an astonishing career as a stuntman and character actor, one that few leading stars could rival. He brought life to an Ewok in Star Wars. Return of the Jedi, portrayed the wisecracking robot Twiki in Buck Rogers in the 25th century, and appeared in numerous iconic films such as E.T. the Extraterrestrial, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, and Batman Returns. Although much of his career was spent hidden beneath costumes, masks, or heavy layers of fur, his presence became deeply embedded in the childhood memories of generations worldwide. Felix Silla proved that an actor does not need a visible face to become unforgettable. Sometimes, it is dedication and the ability to communicate through the smallest gestures that truly touch audiences. He passed away in 2021 at the age of 84 due to pancreatic cancer, closing the chapter on the life of one of Hollywood's most understated heroes. Yet Cousin ITT, clever, charming, and utterly unique, remains an inseparable part of the Addams family legacy. 6. Ken Weatherwax, Pugsley, the tragedy behind a child star's smile. In the strange yet loving world of the Addams family, young Pugsley, with his mischievous and often dangerous antics, was an essential presence. The role was played by Ken Weatherwax, who was cast at just 9 years old. However, behind the cheerful, chubby-faced boy seen on screen lay a life marked by hardship and deeply painful realities. When the show ended at the age of 11, the bright lights of Hollywood suddenly faded, leaving Ken to face a harsh and uncertain future. Like many child actors of his era, he fell into what could be called a typecasting trap. He became so closely associated with Pugsley that casting directors struggled to see him in any other role. Worse still, upon returning to school, Ken became the target of relentless bullying from classmates, mocked both for his appearance and his television past. The sense of isolation and frustration grew overwhelming. At just 17, he enlisted in the military, hoping to escape his past and forge a new identity. In 1977, during an Addams Family reunion project, audiences were stunned to see a dramatically different Pugsley, grown, muscular, and strikingly masculine, a complete contrast to the round-faced boy they once knew. Despite attempts to return to acting, the shadow of his childhood role proved impossible to escape. Eventually, Ken stepped away from the spotlight, working quietly behind the scenes as a set builder and studio technician, choosing a life far removed from fame. His story reached a heartbreaking conclusion when he passed away suddenly from a heart attack in 2014 at the age of 59. After a lifetime connected to the entertainment industry, he was largely forgotten by it. His family even struggled financially to afford his funeral. In a final act of compassion, fans who had once loved Pugsley came together to raise funds, ensuring he received a dignified farewell. Ken Weatherwax's life remains a somber reminder of the heavy cost of early fame and the unforgiving nature of the entertainment industry. 7. Lisa Loring, Wednesday, the girl who defined an icon and her lifelong search for peace. Within the cinematic universe of the Addams Family, Wednesday has always stood at the center of cold intelligence, quiet mystery, and unsettling composure. The foundation of this iconic character was first laid by Lisa Loring, who took on the role at just 5.5 years old, so young that she could not yet read her lines and had to rely on the crew to recite them for her. With her hauntingly blank stare, tightly braided pigtails, and the ever-present headless Marie Antoinette doll, Lisa Loring did more than simply act. She redefined what it meant to portray a strange child. Every version of Wednesday that followed, from the razor-sharp interpretation of Christina Ricci in the 1990s to the global phenomenon brought to life by Jenna Ortega on Netflix, carries echoes of the tone and stylistic foundation Lisa established in the 1960s. Yet, in stark contrast to Wednesday Addams, who was always protected and embraced by her on-screen family, Lisa Loring's real life was marked by relentless turbulence. Tragedy struck early when her mother passed away due to alcoholism while Lisa was just 16, leaving behind a profound emotional void. Loneliness and the pressure of early fame pushed her into a series of difficult choices, marrying at a young age and later battling a prolonged struggle with substance abuse. For decades, Lisa fought tirelessly to reclaim her life, working quietly to heal emotional wounds that never fully faded. She passed away in early 2023 at the age of 64 following a severe stroke, bringing an end to a life filled with both brilliance and hardship. Perhaps the most touching revelation after her passing was the deep affection she held for the Addams family. For Lisa, those years spent inside that strange mansion, surrounded by colleagues who treated her like family, were the happiest and most peaceful moments of her life. Though she is gone, the image of young Wednesday, with her iconic "The Drew" dance, remains immortal, a testament to a child actress who turned her uniqueness into something that captivated the world. 8. Jackie Coogan, Uncle Fester, the man who changed Hollywood law and left a lasting legacy of protection. In the world of the Addams Family, Uncle Fester appears as a bizarre, bald figure with bulging eyes and the peculiar ability to light a bulb in his mouth. The man behind this unforgettable role was Jackie Coogan, a figure whose name is etched in cinematic history not only for his acting, but for a legal battle that forever transformed the lives of child actors in Hollywood. Long before becoming the eccentric uncle in the Addams mansion, Coogan was the most famous child star on the planet, starring alongside Charlie Chaplin in the masterpiece The Kid, 1921. At the peak of his childhood fame, Jackie earned a fortune worth millions, an unimaginable sum in the 1920s. However, a devastating betrayal awaited him in adulthood. His mother and stepfather had squandered and taken nearly all the money he had earned throughout his youth. Refusing to accept this fate, Coogan took the extraordinary step of suing his own family. Although he did not recover the full amount, his case led directly to the creation of the California Child Actors Bill in 1939, widely known as the Coogan Law. This legislation requires that 15% of a child actor's earnings be placed into a protected trust account, a Coogan account, until they reach adulthood, safeguarding the financial futures of countless young performers. After stepping away from the spotlight to serve as a pilot during World War II, Coogan returned to acting and found a second spring in his career as Uncle Fester. Shaving his head and embracing elaborate makeup, he reinvented himself, leaving behind the image of a tragic child star to become a beloved cultural icon. When he passed away in 1984 at the age of 69, Jackie Coogan left behind more than timeless performances. He left a profound humanitarian legacy. Every time a child actor in Hollywood receives a paycheck today, they owe a silent debt of gratitude to Uncle Fester and his tireless fight for justice. 9. John Astin, Gomez Addams, the last one standing, and the enduring legacy of a patriarch. As the other members of the Addams family gradually passed into history, John Astin, the charismatic gentleman who portrayed Gomez Addams, remains a living symbol of a golden era. As of 2026, at the remarkable age of 95, he is the only surviving member of the principal cast from the original 1964 television series. Astin has outlived not only his contemporaries, but even his on-screen children, such as Ken Weatherwax and Lisa Loring, becoming the final guardian of the treasured memories of that peculiar mansion. The Gomez character he created was far more than simple entertainment. It was quietly revolutionary for American television in the 1960s. At a time when married couples were often portrayed with restraint or emotional distance, Astin's Gomez was passionate, expressive, and unapologetically devoted to his wife, Morticia. His affectionate kisses along her arm and his enchanting whispers of Corrida established a new archetype, the ideal husband, devoted, expressive, and placing his wife at the center of his universe. Off-screen, John Astin is a deeply intellectual figure and a devoted practitioner of Buddhism, embracing a philosophy of calm and mindfulness. After stepping away from the spotlight, he spent more than 2 decades as a drama professor at Johns Hopkins University, where he not only taught acting techniques, but also inspired generations of students with his passion and worldview. Even at 95, his creative spirit remains undiminished. He is still associated with upcoming film projects slated for release in 2026. His longevity stands as a powerful testament to the enduring spirit of the Addams family itself, resilient, unconventional, and vibrantly alive despite the relentless passage of time.